Max, a 12-year-old boy with bright eyes full of dreams, was saving up every little penny to buy a special birthday gift for his mother, a simple silver bracelet that held so much love. He walked into the store with his heart full of hope, unaware that his life would change forever in the next few minutes. A man walked into the store. None other than Elon Musk. His cold demeanor and unexpected arrival made the atmosphere in the shop suddenly feel different. Max had no idea that what was about to happen would not just be about a gift, but a turning point that would open up an extraordinary and magical journey. Max tightly clenched the small coins in his hand, his heart pounding with excitement and nervousness. Weeks had passed, and he had saved every penny, mowing lawns for neighbors, skipping his favorite snacks, and accepting small amounts of money from those who were grateful to him. Today was the most important moment in his life. Max had saved enough money to buy a special gift for his mother, a gift filled with all the love he wanted to give her. The afternoon sunlight gently peeked behind the rooftops, casting a golden glow on the peaceful streets of Riverside. Max stepped into the small jewelry shop. Its glass windows faded with time, nestled between a cozy cafe and an antique store. The bell rang as he opened the door, the soft sound like a greeting from a familiar space. Mr. Harris, the shop owner, looked up, his kind eyes resembling those of an old friend. He gave a soft smile and nodded a welcoming greeting, and Max felt warmth in this little space. The jewelry shop had no extravagant exterior, but every item inside exuded a simple, captivating beauty. Max walked slowly, his eyes scanning the pieces, like an explorer searching for the most precious treasure. He knew his mother wasn't someone who liked elaborate jewelry, but there was a silver bracelet, delicate with a tiny heart charm, that made him stop. The simple beauty of it made Max picture his mother sitting in her favorite wicker chair, on the porch in the early morning, smiling as she sipped from her hot coffee. Max gently pulled the bracelet from the shelf, carefully examining every detail. The cool touch of the silver filled his heart with tenderness. He checked the price, slightly above the amount he had saved. But in that moment, he didn't hesitate. He knew his mother deserved this. Max took a deep breath and walked over to the counter. As the bracelet was placed on the table, Mr. Harris maintained his pleasant smile, silently calculating the price of the item, without needing to say a word. Just then, the door opened again, and this time, the bell rang louder, as if pulling Max from his thoughts. Mr. Harris looked toward the door, his gaze changing slightly, as if recognizing someone. Max felt the atmosphere in the store shift. At that moment, he sensed the heavy, steady footsteps approaching. He couldn't take his eyes off the door, where a tall figure walked in. Max took a few seconds to recognize the person. It was Elon Musk, the man he had only seen on screens, in conversations about technology. But how could he be here in Riverside? In this jewelry store? Max couldn't believe his eyes. How could someone like Musk appear here, among these simple people, instead of in a big city or a high-level meeting room? He stood there, blinking a few times, feeling like he was living in some strange story. Mr. Harris couldn't hide his surprise either, but he quickly regained his composure, offering his familiar smile without letting his emotions show. But for Max, that moment felt like a whirl, like a dream that was too unbelievable. He didn't understand why, but everything around him seemed to blur, and only the image of Elon Musk remained in the quiet space of the store. Max walked into the jewelry store, where the soft yellow lights shone down on the sparkling items on the shelves. The shop wasn't very big, but the atmosphere here was very warm and peaceful. He tilted his head toward Mr. Harris, the store owner, a slight smile on his lips, before beginning to walk around, searching for something special. But as soon as he stepped inside, he felt a shift in the atmosphere. It seemed like every eye was on him, as if they were waiting for something remarkable. Lena, standing near the counter, quickly closed her notebook. She couldn't help but notice Max's presence and the attention from those around her. She felt a little uneasy as Max pulled out each bill from his wallet, his hands slightly trembling. Suddenly, Elon Musk's warm voice came from behind. "This bracelet is beautiful," he remarked, his gaze never leaving the piece of jewelry in Max's hand. "Have you found what you were looking for?" Max looked up, hesitantly meeting Elon's gaze, feeling like he had been put in an unexpected situation. Thank you," he replied, feeling a bit awkward. "Who are you buying this for?" Elon asked, his voice soft yet filled with deep curiosity. Max thought for a moment, then turned to Lena, who was still standing by the counter, encouraging him with her eyes. "It's for my mom," Max said, his eyes a little anxious, but his voice steadier now. "Tomorrow's her birthday. She works so hard to take care of me. I just want her to have a gift she deserves." Elon smiled. And that smile wasn't just one of praise, it seemed to carry a deep understanding. "You really know how to care," he said, taking a step closer. "So why did you choose this one?" Max felt his face flush when he heard the question. "My mom doesn't like elaborate jewelry," he explained, his hands tightening around the bracelet as if to feel its meaning. "This one is simple but elegant. I think she'll like it. It's not just a gift. It's a way for me to tell her that I'm grateful for everything she's done for me." For a long moment, Elon remained silent, his gaze fixed on Max as though reading the story behind every word. Finally, he nodded. "You're truly a remarkable child," he said, his voice lowering with an incredibly sincere respect. "Many adults can't think that deeply." Max instinctively looked up, his eyes wide with surprise. "You know my name?" he asked, feeling as though he were in a fairy tale. Elon gently pointed to the small name tag on Max's shirt. "I just saw this," he said, then smiled, breaking the silence. Max let out a sigh of relief, no longer feeling confused. "You don't have to do that," he said, his voice no longer trembling. "I just want to give this gift to my mom." Mr. Harris, the salesperson, looked at the pile of money on the counter, then turned to Elon. "This boy has enough already," he said, his voice warm, as if he knew exactly what Elon was about to do next. Elon stared at the money, then turned to Max, his gaze still full of concern. "Max, I want to do something special for you," he said, his voice warm. "Let me take care of this, as a small gift from both of us." Max stood frozen, his eyes wide in surprise. You don't have to do that," he stammered, completely confused as to why Elon would want to do such a thing. Elon smiled, waving his hand lightly. "I know I don't have to, but I want to. I see what you're doing, and it's truly admirable." Max just stood there, unable to say anything. It was just a moment, but it was a moment that would change his life. Not because of the gift, but because of the sincere words and generosity Elon had shown him. The feeling of being understood and encouraged made him feel stronger than ever. Max stood still in the quiet space of the store, his eyes following the warm beams of light from the yellow lamps, reflecting on the window's glass. Everything around him seemed to fade, leaving only the presence of Elon Musk and Mr. Harris, the shop owner. He could feel the tension in his chest, but couldn't take his eyes off them, as if an invisible force was pulling him closer. Elon didn't rush. He paused for a moment, his eyes still lost in some thought, then gently looked at Max. "Have you ever thought about pursuing something that no one thinks you can do?" Max felt like something deep inside him had been touched. He didn't answer immediately, because in his mind, a series of questions kept echoing. He wanted to speak, but it felt like every word was stuck in his throat. I don't know," Max replied, his voice soft and vague. I just know there are many things I can't do. Because no one believes in me. Elon looked at him, his eyes offering no judgment. Just patience and understanding. You don't need the belief of others, Max. What matters is that you believe in yourself. In fact, not everyone is brave enough to do things no one has ever done. But if you dare to step out of your comfort zone, you'll discover an unexpected strength. Max stayed silent for a while, gripping the bracelet tightly in his hand, the warmth from it spreading like a strange energy within him. Max felt like something was changing inside his mind. He had never thought he could do something great. But looking at Elon, he realized that those small dreams, if nurtured in the right way, could create miracles. I want to create a place. A space just for my mom, Max blurted out. But his voice faltered in surprise at his own words. I want to create a place where my mom doesn't have to worry about money, about work. A home where she can truly be happy. Elon didn't say anything immediately. He just looked at him with a warm gaze. That's a great goal, Max. But when we want to build something truly meaningful, we have to start with the smallest steps. That house will not just be a place to live, but a symbol of love. Max felt as though Elon's words were carving themselves into his mind, like a light shining on the path ahead. But I'm afraid I'm not capable of doing it. Elon smiled gently, his eyes full of resolve. Fear is unavoidable, Max. But remember, all great achievements start from steps filled with doubt and uncertainty. You must dare to face it. I believe you can. Max looked at him, his eyes gradually lighting up. A small spark of belief began to grow in his heart. He didn't know how Elon could help, but his words made him feel like a door was opening. How do I start? Max asked, his voice a bit uncertain, yet full of hope. Elon nodded, then gently extended his hand toward him. The first step is daring to dream big. After that, everything will start with small things, like defining clear goals. I'll help you get in touch with people who can support you. Max took a deep breath, then slowly pulled out a small piece of paper from his pocket, on which was his mother's phone number. This is my mom's phone number. I don't know what to say anymore, but I believe you can help. Elon took the paper, his eyes filled with patience. Don't worry, Max. Everything will come when you're ready. Just always remember, a real dream begins when we're not afraid to share it. Max felt like he had just crossed a new threshold, where determination and hope were no longer abstract concepts. He didn't know what the future would be like, but from this moment on, he believed everything could change. The next day, Max couldn't hide his excitement. He carefully handed his mom the small box, elegantly wrapped, like a gift containing the deep feelings Max had been preparing for so long. He had rehearsed every word in his mind. But when standing before his mom, only one thing he wanted to say: Happy birthday, Mom. Lena looked at the box, her eyes full of surprise. She wasn't used to receiving gifts, and even less to receiving such thoughtful gifts. When she opened the box, the silver bracelet shimmered in her hands, making her unable to stop admiring it. In that moment, everything around her seemed to fade, leaving only the graceful beauty of the gift Max had given. Tears silently fell down her cheeks. Max, she choked, her voice catching in her throat. You don't have to do this. Max gently placed his hand on his mother's shoulder, looking at her with determination. I want to. Mom, you've always deserved all the best things. She smiled, but her eyes remained fixed on the bracelet, as if emotions that had never been expressed were welling up inside her. She didn't know that this gift was just the beginning of things to come. The evening passed peacefully in the cozy atmosphere of the kitchen. Lena and Max enjoyed dinner together, the soft light from the table lamp creating an intimate space. But then, Lena's phone suddenly buzzed. causing her to jump slightly. She looked at the screen and saw an unfamiliar number, causing her to hesitate, unsure whether to answer. "Hello?" Lena picked up the phone, maintaining her calm voice but with a hint of uncertainty. "Hello? Is this Lena?" A man's voice came through the phone, confident yet warm. Lena went silent, unable to recognize who was calling. "Who is this?" she asked, confused. "This is Elon Musk," the voice on the other end continued, gentle yet profound. Lena almost dropped the phone. Who are you?" She glanced at Max, seeing him staring wide-eyed in surprise. But he said nothing. Musk chuckled lightly, as though he was accustomed to this kind of astonishment. "I know this may surprise you, but yesterday, I met Max at the jewelry store. He shared a lot about you, about the sacrifices you've made, and the love he has for you. I just wanted to say, you are an amazing mother." Lena was speechless, sitting there with emotions welling up inside her. "Thank you," she whispered, unable to believe what she had just heard. "And," Musk continued, "Max also talked about an idea I really believe in. He wants to help build homes for families like yours. It's a wonderful initiative, and I want to support him in making it happen." Lena was overwhelmed, feeling like the world was spinning around her. Max sat still, saying nothing, but his eyes never left the phone in his mother's hand. Musk seemed unfazed by her surprise. "To help ease your family's worries, I've decided to cover your rent for a year. Plus, I'll arrange for Max to have a mentor who can guide him in exploring design and technology. If you need anything else, just let me know." Lena could no longer hold back her emotions, feeling like a wave of feelings had crashed over her. I don't know what to say," she choked. Max, unable to contain his emotions, quickly took the phone from his mother's hand, his voice trembling. "Mr. Musk? I don't know how to thank you. I can't believe this." Musk gently replied, "Max, what I'm doing is just to help you move forward. Always remember to hold on to your dreams and never forget what you already have. That's all I hope for." The call ended, but Elon Musk's words still echoed in Max and Lena's hearts. They not only changed their lives but also opened new doors, where dreams that once seemed far-fetched suddenly became a reality. The following weeks were a series of surprising changes. As promised, Elon Musk's team connected Max with David, an experienced and passionate engineer. David not only taught Max the knowledge of construction, but also instilled in him a belief in his limitless potential. Moreover, David always respected Max's creative ideas, encouraging him to keep dreaming big and think of groundbreaking changes. From the first sketches, Max began to envision houses that were not just places to live, but homes that carried hope and faith. Meanwhile, Lena, the resilient mother, also felt a distinct change in her life. Freed from financial worries, she could fully dedicate her time to Max, caring for her son and dreaming with him about a brighter future. Her dreams were no longer limited by material burdens. She knew that meeting Elon Musk was not just a coincidence, but a turning point that would completely change their lives. Soon, Max and Lena's story spread far and wide. Media outlets quickly began seeking them out to report the news. But Lena wasn't seeking fame. She just wanted to share her story to inspire others. It's not about what we received, but how a simple act of kindness can change someone's life, making them believe that good things still exist in this world, Lena shared with the reporter, her eyes shining with faith. Max, once a shy boy, had completely transformed. He began to imagine houses not only as material things but as symbols of social change. He drew up grand plans for the future, for beautiful, sustainable homes full of humanity. David constantly encouraged Max to think beyond ordinary limits, and soon after, he was invited to attend a community event to share his ideas. When Max took the stage, His eyes lit up with passion, and everyone present was captivated by his energy and creativity. Along with this, support from the community kept pouring in. Individuals, organizations, and even experts wanted to help Max and Lena make their dream come true. They not only brought resources but also motivation for them to continue their difficult journey. It was a valuable lesson they learned from Elon Musk. Every great thing starts with a small dream. One evening, as Max and Lena sat on the porch, watching the sunset fade behind the distant mountains, Max looked at his mother, his eyes full of hope, and said, "Mom, one day, I'll build houses, so that everyone who needs one can find a home." Lena smiled, placing her hand on her son's shoulder, her eyes filled with love. "You already have everything you need to make that happen. The rest will come at the right time." Max and Lena's journey is a living testament that, even with a humble starting point, a good deed is powerful enough to change a whole life. From small dreams to grand projects, they have proven that perseverance, self-belief, and community support can help turn dreams into reality. Let this story inspire you, that each of us can be a source of motivation for others, even with just a small act. Positive changes start with each individual, and sometimes, just a small light can brighten an entire path. If you find this story meaningful, don't forget to share it to spread hope and encourage those around you. And be sure to subscribe to the channel to always join us on these inspiring journeys, where stories of kindness and resilience will continue to be shared, bringing faith and change to this world. Note, this story is entirely fictional, created for entertainment purposes and to convey meaningful messages about perseverance, kindness, and the power of community. Although the story is not based on real events, we hope it will inspire and encourage you in your life. Thank you for taking the time to watch. And always remember that every good deed, no matter how small, can make a big difference.